Hey everyone, welcome back to Caffeinated Comic Books. I am your host, and today we are checking out Spider-Geddon number 5. This is technically the wrap-up, the end to the Spider-Geddon arc, which was a follow-up to Dan Slott's Spider-Verse event from a handful of years back. Now, Spider-Verse was overall pretty entertaining. I was actually very invested in the event as a whole because I really didn't like these guys. I really didn't like the Inheritors. And for those of you who don't know, the Inheritors are these kind of life force sucking vampire type immortals, essentially. They feed on totems, and totems are individuals or beings who are imbued with powers based on a given animal, right? And so Spider-Man would naturally fall into that category. And in Spider-Verse, a whole lot of Spider-Man from across the Marvel multiverse bit the dust. Captain Universe, so from an alternate universe where when Peter gained the Enigma Force and temporarily gained cosmic powers, and he was ridiculously powerful. We're talking like Superman type power here. He got killed even by this dude, Solus. He's the father of the Inheritors, the family that feeds on all of these totems. And Spider-Geddon wasn't nearly as interesting. There were parts that were actually really interesting because there were parts that had ramifications from previous things that had happened in between Spider-Verse and this event. Things like Otto Octavius managing to come back as Superior Spider-Man, which I actually really enjoy because I'm one of the few Spider-Man fans, I think, that really enjoyed the Superior Spider-Man arc. Now, that's not to say that I always was in that category. Actually, when I first heard about it, I couldn't stand the idea of it. I am a strictly Peter Parker Spider-Man fan. If there was one thing that Dan Slott got right, it was that he made sure to hit home the fact that anybody could put on the mask, anybody could put on the suit, but at the end of the day, when the stuff hit the fan, there was only one true Spider-Man who was the greatest of all of them in the multiverse, and that was Earth 616, main Marvel continuity, Peter Parker Spider-Man. And this book doesn't even have him in it until this issue, or rather this story, this event didn't have 616 Pete in it until this final issue. And they essentially made the main focal point Miles Morales. And I'm sorry, if you're a Miles fan, no disrespect to you, but to me, Miles is garbage tier. He's not an interesting character. He's boring. Honestly, I have never read through one of his comic books and enjoyed my life. That said, I actually really, really liked Miles in the PS4 Spider-Man game that just came out this fall by Insomniac. That was actually fantastic presentation of the character. He was interesting, he was likable, he was relatable, and I actually cared about what was happening to him and what might happen to him moving forward. Whereas, still, in this comic, I don't care. And they make it a heavy point to put all of their focus on him. Because at the end of the last issue, so issue 4 of the main event, there's some tie-ins and some side stories I admittedly didn't read because I'm not going to spend $8 billion just to read one Spider-Man event. I'll check out the Spark Notes, thanks. not that interested, especially given my overall lack of interest with this event. And that's hard for me to say because I'm a Spider-Man fan. I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite Marvel hero. He always has been. But Marvel decided to make the focus Miles, and it didn't do it for me. The art was actually good in this book, and the art has actually been pretty solid throughout the entirety of the event. And it's a comic book. It's a visual medium, and therefore, first and foremost, even above the story, right? So I'll take a decent story with gorgeous art over an incredible story with art that I can't stand to look at because it gives my eyes a headache. But the art was good. The art was solid through this. It was fairly dynamic, good paneling. Again, it was just the overall disappointment with the event as a whole. It felt kind of hollow by the end. It felt very anticlimactic. Not quite Green Lantern movie anticlimactic, but pretty up there. So at the end of the previous issue, anyway, going back to that, the Enigma Force found its way to Earth 616 and presented itself in front of a handful of these heroes. So another alternate Earth's female Otto Octavius, and Otto Octavia, I think is what, or her name is Octavia. I can't remember. There are enough Earths in the multiverse. I can't be held responsible to keep track of all of them. I'm sorry. But it presents itself to her, to Miles, and a couple other alternate Spider-Men. And essentially it tells them, who do you think you lowly humans are? What makes you think you're worthy of my power? And these three, they're kind of nodding like, it's got a point. We're not really worthy. We're not perfect. We're flawed. We're human, right? We're flawed because we're human. That's just a natural thing. Miles kind of gets a good point across in that, hey, you know what? You can wait for a perfect individual if you want. They're never coming. Split, right? Get out of here. We'll fight to our last breath on our own if we have to without you. So I appreciated that. At the same time, it's like, all right, enough of the chest puffing. We get it. You're the main focal point of the book. And essentially, spoiler alert, he gets the Enigma Force for this book. We'll get to that. One of the things I've really enjoyed with the event, though, even though the event as a whole was a bit of a letdown for me, one thing I really did enjoy was they had a lot of interaction between Peter from the Insomniac Spider-Man PS4 game and Otto. Superior Spider-Man Otto specifically, and that created a really cool scenario, really cool relationship there, because this Peter had just dealt with, spoiler alert if you haven't played the game, it's been out since September, it's your own damn fault if this ruins it for you. There was your warning. If you didn't pause the video and go buy the game at GameStop, Best Buy, wherever, and play it and beat it, and then unpause the video and finish it, that's on you. But he had just been through some real gnarly stuff with his Earth's Otto. And his Earth's Otto had been not just a friend, but a mentor to him. And he felt incredibly broken over that betrayal and having to fight him at the end of that game. Truly wonderful finale to that game. That game it's not flawless, but damn, it is close. As far as superhero intellectual property games go, licensed games go, it is really up there. It is that's Arkham series caliber, if not better for me, because I'm admittedly more of a Spider-Man than a Batman guy. Anyway, so in the last issue, Otto Superior Spider-Man had handed over Ben Parker, the Scarlet Spider, a clone of Peter Parker, back in the 90s. Lots of weird stuff happened in Spider-Man books in the 90s. We tried to forget about some of it. Some of it was cool. But he hands him over to the Inheritors to try and broker a deal. However, and unbeknownst to PS4 Spidey here, there was actually a plan behind that. But Otto doesn't quite get the chance to say that, and they brawl it out for a quick second here. But it's just, this is dynamic. I like this a lot right here. This is good paneling, and the suit pops. When that suit was initially revealed, I didn't like it at all, but it grew on me through the course of the game, and it pops on the page. I actually think I like the comic book look of it better than I did in the game. And I think it's just, I don't know, something about the way it's colored on the page, and that's I guess just a credit to the artist there. But the Inheritors try to feed on him, but it actually, because when they do that, they actually absorb a lot of their memories. Now, Ben Parker has been killed and revived dozens of times, like over 24 times. I think he says something like 26, 27, 28 times. And that drives Genix, this guy, he's kind of the sciencey guy of the Inheritors. It drives him batshit, or spider shit, maybe. We'll go with that. It drives him nuts, right? And that gives everyone else a chance to team up and attack. But unfortunately, Solus, the father of the Inheritors, steps in. And this dude is in a different weight class. This is like CM Punk decided to step into the UFC ring, and he wasn't ready for the UFC. Or Conor McGregor decided to step up a weight class, and he wasn't ready to step up in that weight class. And he kind of whoops on them for a little bit before getting smacked down a little bit by Miles with the Enigma Force intact in him. This was annoying for me just because I can't stand Miles. I said I liked that line that he had in the beginning of the book. I don't like him otherwise in the book. And it's because it's like they're trying to write him as Diet Peter. All you need is Peter Parker to have a good Spider-Man comic, and somebody that understands the character. That's easier said than done, apparently, these days. But we've got giant mech driving Spider-Man here from old Japanese, it was either an old Japanese movie or TV show. I found it hilarious that they actually put that into the Spider-Verse, or rather the Spider-Geddon. I thought that was a cool call out there. And there are a lot of really weird and unnecessary alternate Spider-Man, but long story short, Otto decides to cook up a plan that will bring everyone to kind of a mutual understanding and consensus. So instead of locking up the Inheritors, imprisoning them, and then them just breaking out and causing more hell like they did in this event because they just locked him up, didn't kill him after the end of Spider-Verse. Or, on the other hand, killing them, which most of the alternate universe Spider-Men are not exactly down with. I mean, I get it, but I don't really get it. These fools eat you. Get rid of them. Call your pest control. But Spiderling and Spider-Girl and Spider-Woman, so Mayday Parker, been a fan of Mayday Parker for a while. They all show up, and apparently in one of the side stories, the Spiderling, Annie Mae, has become one of the special, like, chosen ones of the Web of Destiny, or the Web of Life, whatever it was. Web of Life, yeah, right there. Actually, I kind of dig her suit. And she's the pattern maker, so she can see the kind of tapestry of the Web of Life, and this is some real Wanted stuff right here, I guess. And she can also alter things, so she gives them this Power Rangers armor. They get their little Powerpuff Girl thing going on here. Okay, why not? I'm okay with it. I'm familiar with 2 out of 3 of them, so I'm good with it. And I like the characters, so we'll just go with that. I'm fine with it. But they start laying the smackdown on the inheritors, and they eventually manage to win, and they manage to succeed in their plan. Oh, by the way, guess who decides to show up? Hey, it's Earth 616 Peter for just like the last couple of pages. And he does like next to nothing. So this book was every Spider-Man but him. They pile on the inheritors and they manage to enact their plan, which is essentially they kill them in their present bodies and then they resurrect them in new ones as babies. And oddly enough, we've got foster mom of Peter Parker here. In an alternate universe, we've got Aunt May with spider powers, and she's going to be kind of the foster mom for these growing children. Because apparently they decided to make it to where they're not all actually evil. Just the dad, just Solus was evil. And the rest of them were literally forced to do this. I don't buy it, really. But okay, why not? And there are other ramifications from all of this, one of which being Mayday Parker's father, Peter Parker, Spider-Man of that Earth, Earth 982. He gets revitalized, not really clearly explained, but I'm okay with it because that was actually a really tragic moment in the last Spider-Verse event. That was actually one of the more pull on the heartstrings type moments. But essentially at the end, 616 Pete and Miles and Otto, Superior Spider-Man Otto, all kind of have a meeting of the minds and a truce of, hey, you know what? We're Gucci. You know, you risked your butt to save us. We're cool. You need a hand? Give me a call. So overall, the event was okay. It was a bit melodramatic at times, hollow at others. There were some fun moments, but it very much did not have a focus on Peter Parker at all, and I think that took away from it for me. But let me know what you guys think. Did you pick up this book? Did you pick up the entire event? Did you read any of the side stories? If you picked up any of the side stories and you dug those, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think any of the side stories are actually worth reading, because I'm kind of picky with my Spider-Man books, and I'm not about to drop a bunch of money just to get every single side story that ties into this. There's one or two that I definitely want to check out. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.